discussion referred to above, when asked about what he made of the independence of the judiciary in the wake of decisions in the course of the recent 2020 election petition, Dr. Ayene stated his honest, well-reasoned and well-researched view as not only an academic of so many years standing, but also a lawyer of high repute, a former Deputy Attorney General of the Republic, a member of Parliament and Chairman of Parliament Subsidiary Legislative Committee. It therefore came as a shock to many in academia, civil society, the legal fraternity, and indeed to us in the National Democratic Congress, that the Chief Justice has initiated processes to have Dr. Ayene investigated and disciplined for his comments. Friends from the media, let me state here and now that the National Democratic Congress stands with Dr. Ayene against what is increasingly becoming a campaign of judicial tyranny being waged by no less a person than the Chief Justice of the Republic against lawyers who identify with the NDC. Indeed, the latest persecution of Dr. Ayene is part of a grand agenda by the current Chief Justice to intimidate, cower, and muzzle all dissenting voices, particularly those in the NDC, who dare to speak against some of the strange decisions that characterize the 2020 presidential election petition. As you may be aware, only a few months ago, some lawyers with NDC leanings, specifically lawyer Abraham Amaliba and lawyer David Annan, were hauled to this same disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council by the same Chief Justice in similar fashion and harassed for expressing their views on the constitution of the Supreme Court panel that heard the 2020 election petition. Also, not long ago, the Honorable Roxanne Nelson K. Eche Dafiamapo, the NDC Member of Parliament for South Dine, received a similar invitation to appear before the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, Dr. Ayene spoke at a roundtable discussion which had other lawyers and academics brought together to analyze the impact of presidential election petitions on our democracy. When the question about confidence in the independence of the judiciary was posed, lawyer Yao Opong, a member of President Akufo-Addo's legal team, responded that he thought Ghana's judiciary was independent. Dr. Ayene, on his part, expressed the view that his confidence in the independence of the judiciary has been dampened by the way the court determines some of the interlocutory applications of the petitioner without due regard to judicial precedents and settled rules and practices. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the way in which the Supreme Court, in the hearing of the 2020 election petition, continuously shielded the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mrs. Jean Adukoye-Mensah, from scrutiny and accountability, has been the subject of critical comment by many people. Indeed, much of the criticism has been from people who are in no way associated with the National Democratic Congress. We must say we are also struck by how positions that the current Chief Justice took in the 2012 election petition are completely opposite to his positions in the 2020 election petition. And we may ask, what has changed? Let me read to you a few sentences from Justice of the Supreme Court, as he then was, Anin Yeboah, when he dissented in respect of a ruling concerning whether the Electoral Commission should be ordered to produce certain documents. He said, and I quote, "In a serious matter in which the mandate of the entire voters of this country is being questioned through the judicial process, one expected the second respondent, as the sole body responsible for the conduct of elections, to have exhibited utmost degree of candor to assist the court in arriving at the truth." Surprisingly, the second respondent, Electoral Commission, opted for filing no pink sheets, leaving this court unassisted and thereby placing reliance only on the pink sheets supplied to the agents of the petitioners at the various polling stations in issue. While the second respondent elected to deny assistance to a court of law in search of the truth in a monumental case of this nature is beyond my comprehension. He continued, "I think this must be deprecated in view of the constitutional autonomy granted to it to perform such vital functions under the Constitution for the advancement of our democratic governance," unquote. And that was Justice Aninyeboa in 2013. Yet, in the recent election petition, the same Chief Justice, Aninyeboa, dismissed every single application on behalf of the petitioner to have the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, the same Electoral Commission, assist the court to establish the same truth. In 2013, Dr. Farijan went into the witness box and was subjected to extensive cross-examination. That was not enough for Justice Aninyeboa then. This time, Mrs. Jean Mensah, having sworn to a witness statement and sworn to affidavits to the effect that she would be available for cross-examination, chose not to testify. Even an attempt to reopen the case of the petitioner to enable her be subpoenaed was rejected by the same Chief Justice and his colleagues. Why was the conduct of Mrs. Jean Mensah not deprecated this time around? How does the Chief Justice, Justice Aninyeboa, expect Ghanaians to have confidence in his impartiality and fair-mindedness as a judge in the face of these contradictory decisions by him? Also, the way and manner the Supreme Court unanimously dismissed virtually all the interlocutory applications of the petitioner without regard for the law, in some instances, further dampened our hopes in that important arm of government. You may recall, for instance, that in their ruling on the application by the petitioner to reopen his case to call the EC chairperson as an adverse witness, the Supreme Court disregarded the clear provisions of the Evidence Act of Ghana, which is the law in Ghana, and opted for a wrong interpretation of the Black Law Dictionary of UK. Black Law Dictionary's definition of adverse witness. We all know that where the law does not explicitly provide for any subject, you may borrow from other jurisdictions, but clearly not where your law states clearly what should operate in Ghana. You abandon that one and you go looking for advice from dictionaries elsewhere. In that ruling, the court said that a person cannot be an adverse witness until he has already mounted the witness box, despite the clear provisions of the Evidence Act of Ghana, which provides that in a civil action, a party or a person whose relationship to a party makes the interests of that person substantially the same as a party may be called by an adverse party and examined as if on cross-examination at any time during the presentation of evidence by the party calling the witness. When the petitioner applied for a review of this decision, and the court was presented with a golden opportunity to correct this clear error of law, the court refused to do so without any plausible reason. How then can anybody fault Dr. Ayine for saying that his hopes about the independence of the judiciary was dampened by the way and manner the court failed to apply the law and judicial precedents in dealing with some interlocutory applications of the petitioner? Friends from the media, our position on this matter is simple. Dr. Ayene's views about the independence of the judiciary are views he is entitled to, in line with his freedom of expression guaranteed under the 1992 Constitution. He was courteous to the court and kept his language temperate and decent. He stayed within the bounds of professionalism. He was neither scurrilous nor scandalous. For him to be accused by the Chief Justice of disparaging Ghana's judiciary over these tempered and justified comments is not only bizarre and unfortunate, but speaks volumes about the Chief Justice himself. Clearly, the opinion expressed by Dr. Ayene, which we in the NDC share without any equivocation, is not actionable and does not violate any rule of professional conduct for lawyers. As a matter of fact, neither Dr. Ayene nor we in NDC can be compelled, and I repeat, can be compelled to increase our confidence in the independence of the judiciary, even when the court has not given us any basis or reason so to do. The Chief Justice ought to be reminded that according to Article 125 of our Constitution, justice emanates from the people and is administered on behalf of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent. Public confidence in the independence of the judiciary must therefore be earned and not be forced on us. Nobody can force anybody to have confidence in a system that does not justify that confidence. It is naturally not possible. So if you want me to have confidence in you, you must demonstrate by your actions that you deserve that confidence. I cannot be compelled by any dictator to have confidence in anything that I don't have confidence in. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we are concerned at the seeming judicial dictatorship that is fast festering under the leadership of the current Chief Justice. An unwelcome development which threatens free speech and could potentially undermine our justice system. You will recall that not so long ago, and immediately before the judgment on the elections petition was pronounced, the Chief Justice instructed his private lawyer, Mr. Teddy Usori, to issue a threatening letter to media houses in the country, ostensibly to restrict public criticism of the court on grounds that the Ghanaian people are uneducated and uninformed about legal issues. When there was public uproar, it was then claimed that the letter was not aimed at preventing criticism of decisions of the Supreme Court in the media. So you see how it proceeded. You were going to announce a verdict. For some reason, you yourself took the position that that verdict will be criticized. And so you issue a warning that no media house should criticize you because We are all not learned in the law. How many times have you seen any court or heard any court telling anybody that I am going to give a judgment, but I'm warning you not to talk about the judgment? So what does it tell you about your own belief in the judgment you are going to deliver? Why are you not expecting that after delivering the judgment, all the media houses will be praising you for doing a good job? Why didn't you think like that? And you simply assume that they will be criticizing me. So it means that that is an admission that what you are about to do was wrong. And it didn't end there. Now you have done it. And we are talking about it, and you say we cannot talk about it. We will continue talking about it. Our children will come and talk about it. And our grandchildren will come and talk about it. And this judgment will be studied in all the law schools in this country. Because the Supreme Court is a court of record. The judiciary, ladies and gentlemen, like Parliament or the executive, is not above criticism. Indeed, it is worth recalling that the recent Re-Akoto event in Kumasi, where an address was delivered on behalf of the Chief Justice, was an event to criticize a 60-year-old decision of the Supreme Court. The event was dominated by politicians of the New Patriotic Party stock, who used the occasion to express their critical views freely. So you see now, the Chief Justice, the President, everybody is free to criticize one Supreme Court decision. But even members of Parliament are not free to criticize another Supreme Court decision. What type of country then are we living in? We wish to reiterate the fact that the invitation of Dr. Ayene to appear before the General Legal Council is yet another attempt by the Chief Justice to intimidate and suppress views that are at variance with his own views. Even if the Chief Justice disagrees with Dr. Ayene's views or deems same as erroneous, the statement made were decorous expressions of opinion about a judgment delivered by the Supreme Court of Ghana and do not warrant professional discipline. Our progressive march as a constitutional democracy will suffer a grave setback if the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council were to proceed to hold an inquiry into the matter of Dr. Ayene's statements at the CDD event. Our Constitution and laws protect the integrity and independence of the judiciary and not the sensibilities of judges. I want to take that again. Our Constitution and laws protect the integrity and independence of the judiciary and not the sensibilities of judges. Judicial vanity is a threat to justice and must not be countenanced in any democracy. We therefore join all well-meaning Ghanaians to demand that the Chief Justice withdraws his petition against Dr. Ayene forthwith. We further serve notice that as a political party, we are keenly following events and shall resist any judicial tyranny with all our might. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we wish to state that even as the action taken against Dr. Ayene is unjustified, it is but a symptom of a larger problem. It is no coincidence that virtually all the lawyers who have been reported to the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council by the Chief Justice, Justice Kwesi Anim-Yeboah, in recent times are aligned to the NDC. What is the Chief Justice's personal interest in the punishment of NDC-affiliated lawyers that he is so keen to initiate unwarranted actions against them? We dare say that such treatment will not be meted out to lawyers who are aligned to the MPP for reasons best known to the Chief Justice himself. After the 2013 election petition verdict was delivered by the Supreme Court, lawyer Sam Okujeto, at a symposium organized by the Dankwa Institute, took some of the justices of the Supreme Court to the cleaners and gave his own interpretation of the judgment, contrary to what the court had determined. Also recently, when the High Court Human Rights Division, presided by Justice Gifty Ado, ruled against the General Legal Council in an application brought by lawyer Francis Sosu, lawyer Sam Okujeto once again went to town, attacking and questioning the capacity of the judge who quashed the decisions of the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council, of which he is a member. Lawyer Sam Okujeto is also a leading member of the New Patriotic Party and the Council of State. Why was he not referred to the General Legal Council for disciplinary action by the current Chief Justice, Justice Kwesi Anim-Yeboah? What about the several MPP-affiliated lawyers, including a lawyer on record who made many prejudicial comments and sought to seduce the Supreme Court during the hearing of the 2020 election petition? The respect accorded the judiciary is one that ought to be earned due to the ability of members of that important arm of government to show equanimity, balance, and fairness to all manner of persons, irrespective of their political or ethnic coloration. That respect cannot be rammed down the throats of anyone through acts of suppression and brazen acts of intimidation. The notion that the judicial arm of government is beyond reproach is but a fantasy which cannot be sustained. The same is utterly inimical to democratic practice and must not be countenanced. If these actions by the Chief Justice are intended to browbeat the NDC and its members and prevent us from stating our views on the performance of the judiciary, we hereby state categorically that they will not succeed. We will not be intimidated. We as a party will continue to defend the cause of freedom and of right in this country. We do not strive to put in place the building blocks of a sustainable democracy only to allow judicial tyranny to rear its ugly head. And we will never be intimidated by partisan occupants of state institutions, no matter the cause. And to conclude, I'd like to refer to the words in the original slogan of NDC. And it says that NDC, no retreat, no surrender, no curve, no bend, straight on to victory. May God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Thank you very much, sir, for that courageous, insightful presentation. If you have any question at this juncture, you can raise up your hand. You come to the front, we'll give you a microphone, you tell us your name and your media house, and then you ask your question. Please, any questions? If you have a question, let me see your hand. Okay. You have a question? Okay, then come this way. Any other question? Okay, you can also come this way. Any other hand? Okay. So let's take the two for now. Parker Wilson.
General, good morning, and good morning to my colleagues here. Quick one, General. One will just ask, as the General Secretary of the NDC, what locus do you have, the expertise you have to determine whether indeed the comment made by Dr. Ayeni is not disparaging and not a slight on the integrity of the judges at the Apex Court? And then two, there are those who are saying that we should all proceed with caution because an attack on the judiciary could mean destabilizing the country's democracy, because a mistrust of the judiciary would amount to some level of chaos. How then do you respond to that? And finally, in your last expression, you said, I can't quote verbatim, but to suggest that individuals are occupying states' positions in a partisan manner. Just for clarity, are you therefore suggesting that the CJ is there to do the bidding of the NPP? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next question.
My name is Wisdom, work with TVXY. Just to ask that I've heard people say that the NDC as a party is not serious to do anything, and all you do is talk. Because prior to this election petition, there were lots of comments and things that the NDC could have done that didn't happen. Now there's a verdict, and your members have been intimidated, and it's just talking. So we should not expect anything different from the NDC. How do you react to those comments?
All right, thank you. Any other? Okay, so we have 5 questions from 2 people. General will answer the questions, and for the purposes of the account stations here, he will do a brief summary of his presentation in 3. We'll plead with you that you keep your cameras in their positions. Let's restrict the movement. It will be very brief, and then we can wrap it up. Thank you.
Yeah. The first question has to do with the locus I have as a General Secretary. The General Secretaryship is not my only locus. My first locus is a Ghanaian citizen called Asiedu Nketia from Sekwa, who pay taxes. That is my first locus. And my second locus in determining whether the invitation is right or not is my common sense. Yeah. So everybody has a way of interpreting whatever they are faced with. According to my common sense, it doesn't make sense to invite Dr. Ayeni to that listen. And the second one is about attack on the judiciary being dangerous to our democracy. Well, if the judiciary is not independent, what are we supposed to do if the judiciary is conducting itself to create the impression that they are not independent? So, are you saying that faced with the choice of pointing out what is wrong for it to be corrected and keeping quiet, which option will help our democracy? We have chosen the side of pointing out what is wrong so that we have opportunity to correct it. We cannot keep quiet over something that we consider to be wrong about any state institution. And indeed, we are happy that the president agrees with us about what we are doing. Because on January 7th, he called us to be participants and not spectators. What does he mean by that? Participate in governance. Your role as a citizen doesn't end with the voting, casting of vote. You must actively participate, criticize, monitor, give praise when praise is due. The work of democratic institutions in the country, because democracy is about rule of law, not rule of men. And the institutions once they are provided for by the Constitution, cannot be perfect from the beginning. It takes public criticism of their work to straighten their ways, to improve their performance. That is why we have, it is not just the locals we have a duty to criticize what we consider to be wrong if we want to behave like good citizens of this country. We are duty bound. So those who are quiet in the face of wrongdoing have decided to be on the side of the wrongdoer. So if you see something going wrong, you must point it out so that there will be a chance of it being corrected. That is why we are speaking the way we are speaking. So you must, the danger that is posed to a country by a judiciary that is perceived not to be independent is greater than the criticism that any citizen will raise against the performance of such judiciary. And there is documented research in this country that suggests that over 80% of Ghanaians don't consider the judiciary to be independent. If Article 125 of our Constitution says that justice emanates from the people, and 85% of the people from whom justice emanates and for whom the judiciary is to deliver that justice, they believe that that judiciary is not delivering the justice. Do you think that you will be playing your role as a good citizen to keep quiet over that? There must be something which is worth investigating. Maybe the research findings could be wrong, but we cannot sit idly by, not talking about it. Maybe what you are doing, as you have claimed earlier on, that the rest of us don't understand law, so you alone understand your law. So when you do something, we cannot talk. Then let us appoint illiterates like us, who represent us, to deliver justice, because the justice is being delivered on our behalf. So we cannot have justice that we don't understand. That is why we are talking. And judicial decisions must make sense to the ordinary people. And if in our uninformed minds, your enlightened decisions don't make sense, we have to talk for you to know how many fools you have out there who don't understand the judicial decisions. So that you can make an effort to educate us to understand your decisions. Were you not in this country when Canada, Japan actually insulted members of the judiciary in unprintable language? What happened? The matter didn't even go to any judicial whatever. It went to the court, presided over by the same judges who were insulted. And they were running away. So if you create the impression that you enjoy the insults at that time, if people don't have confidence in you, now who calls them? Now another person says, talk. We are not supposed to fight in a democracy. Democracy is about talking. That is why we will continue talking. The day we will stop talking in a democracy, that democracy is headed for trouble. So that is the difference between autocracy and democracy. It is the belief in democracy that expression of your views, ideas openly will blow away the heat and keep the society stable. What I'm saying today, if I haven't said it, on behalf of the party, many party members will be keeping those things in their heads, and you may not know how they will react. So if you are in a democracy and you are silencing dissent, it's like blowing air into a balloon. If somebody is standing beside you and say, this balloon will burst, and you won't stop blowing the air, and you won't allow any space for the air to escape, then you can only head for a situation where the balloon will burst on your face. There is no way of making rose not smell sweet by calling it by any other name. Rose smells sweet and it will continue smelling sweet. So if you call it by whatever name, it will still smell sweet. So the truth must be told. The general statement we made about state positions that could be occupied by partisans. It's a general statement about all state institutions in this country. So go and measure your head. If you think this cap fits you, put it on. Thank you. Yo. Now, it's every matter in fear, dear someone. I was forced to try a frame one no pay. And it's a Nansan NDC 40 in Sembiana and Yede. Assembly say Supreme Court Ekudi Assem na NDC 4 at the Akodine or minor court battine say Yesusu say Kwanya Electoral Commission fast year na Juma in 2020 election no wanye no ye enti omra no mebu hu nkonta na case no yedi wie no Kwanya ajaji for fast di case no wo mu di wie ye kura ye nyama homu aye no na wo mu adi kan di kokobo abeto ho se asemu a ye di ni mu aye bai obi a hwe ye no anka ho asem bia nti ayen eno kura na eye obi a wonwa se na de na unim se wo beka enti won expect se amanfo bebo wabaso na mom expectation ni se asema wo beka no de enya amanfo de na mo hwe ye na meka wi a obi animatem ohine ben ne kasasa ohine ti ahimfie wadi asema obebu a o se muaya amede bai de mo hwe ye na meka wi a obi a ankodi matem se ohine nka nokre enti mo amoni mu ni yakasa ho a ena enu etikodai ampani ampa muaya na ba na ya wonhihye bi wo man mu a se asem da court animu a yasimo obi a nkyere na dwen wo ho enti saa now de saa dwen kyere no ekodane atemuafo na adwene akoba bi enti se yegusu di asem no a ma obi anka ho asem na mmomra bia ni oman mu a che se ye di asem no wi a ma obi anka ho asem say oba nkwa nye de na wuntimi nka enchine antri mu nso a wuntimi nka wuntimi nka se nkwa nye de ba se enchine ni mu anti wuntimi nka se mo mfa nchine kakra mra enu nti no ya di asem na wie court so asem a ye di no wo man mu ba bia no eye ensen na ho a womu a womu sua mra ewo ye schools no mu nyina wo mu sua eno na wo di sua mra na kyena bi ye di assemble bi a wo se ebre bi etwa mu asiedu nkati aka sei ebre bi etwa mu samija mfiso asem bi to ebeto nanim okan no sei ebre bi etwa mu lawyer kakra asambo aka no sei enu ntinde abana sa asem no ene no sa sei na ese edito efise tete ahwe ene ehwe ho eno na edi sua ye mra wo man enti bi da se court akoma na asem hu mu aye no san hye ni papa mpin se mo obi anka sa asem no ho asem bia ena Dr. Yene ya frɛ no CDD ye program se ye medoso court judgment no mu ne enhwe ne ma ye betimi asua afiri mu e de akyerɛ enkyirima de se ba bi ye mfomso ba bi ayenka papa ba bi ayenka ya frɛ sa nhyiamu ya eye adisua ene adisua lawyer for ebi bai ebe gyina ma wo mo ayeka se Supreme Court ayade ene ono so eka se Supreme Court nye ade na kwan a omfa so di asem no ama ono ne gidi e wo Supreme Court mu no ahwan we nkasem bi anim afeye free ho a Chief Justice ono akosoma ni secretary se ontwe letter na yenkobo just Dr. Yene kwadu se waye bibi a wanye no yie nti omra ne yemetwe na so enu nti enense ntrofo nhia mu ne botai ni se ye de to Ghana fo nyina nim ama bi aka Chief Justice no se Dr. Yene no NDC fo ye nyinu mada etanachi babi ade no ko bia etanachi efisi ejidi se ne nsem o kan no enti a obia na dwen en wa kire o mai constitution so ema ho kwan your freedom of speech your academic freedoms ewo manum enunti ebre bia court bedi asem awie no obia wo ho kwan se o kire na dwen kwan yo fa so kire na dwen so wanidi obia tem enti onye boni bia enti onkoso nka ade achi na omo san frɛ no ba bia onsan to aso nka efise sa atemua no ebeda ho ama ye ma beka ho asem ama ye ma nana nso abeka ho asem ama ye nana nka so anu abeka ho asem eti se onim se ukoye ade bia entene a no adwen ho yie efise wonya ye ya eda ho afebo ewo din mu ya hunu se Supreme Court kuro ya wabu aten bi pen pese mfie be adonum ni akire nie eye ta frɛ no re akoto nansan ya president no na MPP mpanimfo ekohia se ye hwɛ ne ma ankoyie ewo re akoto case no yi se obi ko read statement ho kra wo Chief Justice we wudin mu no na ye criticism of Supreme Court judgment ya aba so be 50 years ago na de ben ana ususu se e ma wutumi judge no de ma wutumi se wutumi ko criticize the Supreme Court judgment na yanti mamufu a yetu ato me editu awka no yen na atemuo no constitution se efiri yemu na ugina ho na ubu aten no de amaye na okoye adwuma brɛ ya yeni ho kwan se ba bi achi a yebetumi aka bi enti nsantrofo nhia mu ibotai ne se ye nyina so ye beka na NDC ni bia na Ghana ni bia ususu se atemuo bia ekoso wo man no mu enye papa no se wanka wadi o man na nhwammo if you say yene Nana Akufo-Addo ya adwen se o se emma Ghana fo meye behwe adefo e wo na mamu a obu nu na ye nyina yemfa ya no enkomu bi adebone bi koso a yenka na no na bema yetimi akrakra de eye bone no enu nti ye frɛ mo ha na ye kyerɛ sɛ Dr. Yini asɛm o kai no ye yakari ahwe won ni won kan bone bia nti eta na chi e de famoso amama na to jasisa ni nye bo ase akura se maka menwe obia ni Ghana ontimi nya mfomso ye yesusu sɛ wa ye mfomso nti ontwensan na ebiemu nso ye hyɛ Ghana fo nkra ne sɛ ye kan democracy a ye kan bi mame so men kan bi enti sɛ obi na dwen sɛ ɔno ɔbɛyɛ kan bi a ɛma so wɔ man no obi ankan ye NDC for de ye bɛka ɛno nti no obi amwa ɔman no ne kyekyere na bra ye bra egi democracy no si hɔ no amɛyɛ kwa na sɛ fertilizer ye digu bɔne so mani nyini pa ɛne sɛ bɔne no kɔso na nyansafo ɔman no na ɔmo ayɛ din woyɛ no saa kyɛ sɛ wo de fertilizer egu bɔne no so ama na nyini ntem ɛno nti ye mpɛse ye de fertilizer be gu bɔne die so ɛno nti na ɛba ye ka bi no nti enye judiciary nko a ye de nkra kwa ama obi bia oda ɔman adwuma bia no sɛ onya adwuma ɛwɔ ɔman no din mu no onhwe ye no amfa nkwa nkɔyɛ party asɛm ɔde kɔyɛ party asɛm a na ɔno na de ne ho akɔto party controversy mu nti party for so bɛka nti ɔyɛ bibia ɔnhwɛ hunu sɛ ɔman Ghana ɛna yɛ som no ɛda mu nyina ase Nyankopɔn mo ama Ghana konani.
All right. Thank you very much, General. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the media. We are grateful to you for coming. We've already released a soft copy of the statement General read. We will give hard copies to those of you who need hard copies. And we'll plead with you to give us a few minutes. Officers from the Communication Bureau will see you before you leave. Thank you for coming. All right, General. Another important announcement. The Secretariat of the NDC has launched a newsletter, and the maiden edition is available. I don't know whether copies are available yet, but copies are available at administration. If you need a copy, you can get one. Will be okay. So the first copies are free. This will help you know what is going on at the NDC headquarters here and throughout our party structures across the country. So you can pass by the party administration and pick a copy for yourself. Thank you very much once again for coming.